Well, Magistrate Mohlolo Khabisi has denied bail to 4 of the 5 accused who appeared today in the Thabo Bester escape case at the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court. Senohe Matsoara, Teboho Lipholo, Buti, Masukela and Tieho Makhotsa will remain behind bars, while Nastassja Jansenn has been granted 10,000 rands bail with conditions that she reports to the police station on Fridays. That's between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. and not have any contact with state witnesses. Magistrate Khabisi delivered the bail decision a short while ago. Now, let's get analysis. We're now joined via Zoom by legal analyst Melusi Xulu. So thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Just give us your reaction to the magistrate in this case, of course, denying bail to those 4 applicants and, of course, giving bail to accused number 8, Nastassja Jansenn, on 10,000 rands bail.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to the viewers as well. Thank you for inviting me. Simply put, bail application, it investigates if you are a good candidate for bail. For instance, if you believe that you will be a flight risk or you will interfere with state witnesses, it's highly unlikely that you get bail. I just want to comment on Ms. Janssen's situation, why her bail was granted, in my view. I just saw the fact that she was at the gate, she was opening the gate. So for me, it's possible that when she was opening the gate, she could not know whether she was opening the gate for Mr. Bester or not. So I think that kind of shows that she was not involved in the planning of his escape. So she, in terms of how she's implicated in the case, it showed that she could be a good candidate for bail, amongst other things. But as for the rest, I did say this one time that, you know, if you are violating Section 115 of the Correctional Services Act, which is to assist someone to escape, how can you be trusted when you yourself have bail? Will you be trusted when you have to, you know, abide by the law, but you have such a strong allegation of assisting a convicted criminal for murder and rape? So I think that's what stood against them. So it's interesting now that we're still gonna have, if Nandipa doesn't, or Dr. Nandipa doesn't get her order on Thursday, she will still have to come and apply for bail. And it will be interesting to see how she would succeed if these mini players, I would say, inverted commas, did not get bail.
In fact, let's pause on Nandipa for a while. We will get to her because, as my colleague earlier said, you know, there are so many moving parts to this particular case. Let's go back now to just the seriousness of the crimes that the 4 are, the 8 are accused of. And of course, you know, you mentioned there that, you know, Nastassja's case, in this case, she could have gotten bail. In fact, the magistrate said that, you know, she had a prima facie case. You know, just going back to the 4 accused, and they're facing very serious charges. What was it about their legal representatives that could not get them that particular bail at this point in time?
Okay, when we're doing bail, we don't necessarily focus on the merits of the case, but to a certain extent, it is touched on how you were implicated, you know, just to see how you were linked in the case. So if there's a link that money was paid for you to switch off cameras and you were involved in bringing the body, and there is some certain link, because when I watched proceedings, I could see that it's usually the system that we use, a strategy that, look, we don't have to focus on the case right now because my client is innocent until proven guilty. And a bail is not necessarily a pre-trial of a sort, so you can't, you know, be bringing merits of the case and focusing on them. But sometimes, how strong the case is against you, it can work against you, because if you look at the section that talks about a flight risk in Section 60, subsection 4, subsection 4, it talks about the fact that it looks at how strong your case is against you, and the stronger your case, the more you're likely to be a flight risk.
Let's then talk about, what we are currently seeing also playing itself out here. Of course, Bester's legal representative, Tsiletso Ndo, saying that they are considering, challenging the procedure followed during Bester's rearrest and deportation from Tanzania. Of course, we know that Nandipha Makudumane's urgent court application, to have her arrest in Tanzania declared unlawful has also been postponed, as you said, until later this week. So just talk to us about what we are currently seeing playing out, outside this particular case.
Okay, although it was not for today, but it's a very interesting way of looking at Bester's situation. But what will play a role will be how he was deported in Tanzania. You look at Section 14, subsection 2 of Tanzania Immigration Act, where it says, if your continued presence is undesirable, they'll deport you. Then I think where is very critical, what they are raising, is when they arrested him, who were they arresting? Because remember, on the 2nd of May, 2022, it is deemed that he passed away. So when he was arrested, did the Home Affairs state officially that, in fact, the person who was thought was passed away was not Thabo Bester? So that procedure, did they do it before they arrested him, or they did it after? Because last week, if you remember, we were told that there's an ID card for Thabo Bester. So I think the issue is just a technical thing, but it's crucial as well.
Just going back to the case, the accused are back in court on the 20th of June. What are we likely to see, when they reappear? And of course, I just want you to also touch on just some of the conditions that Jansenn is, is afforded, to her, in as far as what she should do before or what she should not do, in fact, before she appears with the others, I would imagine, on the 20th of June.
My view is obviously further investigation on the 20th. It will also see if Nandipha, if she doesn't get an order, will she apply for a bail before then? That's number 2. And number 3, before I come to Ms. Jansenn, we will also likely to see if there will be added accused in the case, because I think I've been on record to say I do believe that there are more people that should be arrested who are high-ranking officials, whether it's the Department of Correctional Services or the police. But the other point that I would say about conditions, whenever we apply for bail application as a defense attorneys or for the accused of the applicants, we always like to push upon that, Your Worship, can my client be released on bail because he will abide to the conditions. So with her conditions, I believe one of the most crucial ones that she must report every Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's what I caught when you just came in. So she just has to report and to ensure at the police station that she must report that I'm still here and I'm going to attend my case religiously when it's time for me to attend. And one of the conditions, the general conditions, that you don't interfere with the evidence of the state or the state witnesses. So if she abides with that, everything will be okay. But once she doesn't abide with the conditions, a bail may be revoked, and that will be a problem for her.